Microcasting for your city. Talkopolis.
It is Tuesday, September 4th, and I am Kelsey Manning, your host of Music Business Daily. Did Nicki Minaj endorse Mitt Romney? Is Miranda Lambert going to be working on a TV show anytime soon? And is Freddie Mercury a bird? These are all questions that will be answered in the next few minutes on Music Business Daily, so stick around, especially for the bird one. But first things first, the Black Keys are one of my favorite bands. They're kind of, I feel like, one of everyone's favorite bands right now, which maybe could get me flack for saying that. But honestly, they're just good, and I feel like a lot of people have taken notice of them, especially around Nashville. People kind of have a love-hate relationship because they're local, but they're not local. But anyway, speaking of the Black Keys, their video for their song Little Black Submarines, super good, debuted today. And actually, it was shot here in Nashville at this little, they're describing it as a dive bar. I guess I would use dive bar. It's called the Springwater Supper Club. And according to both of the guys in the band, they had a storyline that they were going to do. So they were going to make it more stylized, but they got to the bar and just kind of were already playing a show, and it kind of all came together, so they just kind of decided to roll with the live footage. I don't know if that was the smartest decision. I mean, I like it, but I also love a good stylized music video. I feel like, really honestly, though, they could do whatever, and I would still listen to it, and I would probably still watch it, but it's pretty cool. So if you get a chance, definitely check that out. And if you're around Nashville, and you're feeling really touristy, just go Instagram in front of it, and people will think that you're really cool because you heard this story and you did that. So please do that. But moving on, Prince. I am a really big Prince fan, surprisingly, not surprisingly. He announced that he's going to be playing shows in Chicago. This is according to Pitchfork. He's bringing his Welcome to, spelled with the number 2 because Prince, to Chicago. So he's going to be playing, it says a series of shows. The tickets haven't been released yet. It's going to go on sale on September 6th, so we're not sure exactly what all the details are, but obviously with Prince, he's very much love-hate relationship with the media. I mean, none of his songs are available on YouTube or pretty much anywhere. But, if you are a Prince fan, then this is exciting, especially if you're around the Chicago area. He's also going to partner with, it's like an organization called Rebuild the Dream, which is, it's like this whole organization that's kind of like, I guess, their liberal divide against the Tea Party. So apparently he's going to be singing for that. I don't really know. It's Prince, honestly. He could come out in a feather boa and people would just, think that it was the next greatest thing ever. He's probably already done that. I think he's already done that. The Oscars are going to pick 5 Best Song nominees next year. The headline on Spin is Oscars to actually pick 5 Best Song nominees, because last year they only got around to picking 2, which I find extremely distressing, just because there are so many songs that can be considered. Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords won last year with his song Man or Muppet, which was in the Muppet movie, which I adored. But everyone kind of gets into the flack of how many songs should they choose. Last year they had so many to choose from and they only stuck with 2. But this year they're going to expand it. They've apparently changed, because I guess when you're in charge of the Oscars, you can just make up rules as you go. But apparently they're going to really commit to having at least 5 songs, which also adds to the performance factor of the show, which is my favorite part of the Oscars. No surprise there. But big, big, big news. Freddie Mercury became an angry bird a few days ago. So if that's something that you never thought would happen, I never even predicted that those things would ever be in the same sentence, but they are. So Freddie Mercury, the frontman of Queen, one of the greatest bands of all time, obviously, was animated in an Angry Birds sequence that the creators made. They made a video to go along with it to the song Bicycle Race, and it's kind of entertaining. It's really cute, and it's to celebrate what would have been Freddie's birthday, which is tomorrow, September 5th. And so they made a little video to go along with it. I think it's pretty cool. I was never an Angry Birds fan, but I think if they started featuring Queen, I would just have to have it, because that's just too much. And the mustache on the beat is just a beautiful artist touch. So whoever did that, kudos to you. Nicki Minaj, where do I even start? I think she's just Nicki Minaj. She's just her own person. She's no stranger to controversy. She kind of just says whatever she wants, does whatever she wants. She came out, apparently, according to multiple sources, endorsing Mitt Romney, but not really. This is Nicki Minaj we're talking about here. I mean, she is everywhere doing everything, and so she came out with a lyric that basically said, I'm a Republican voting for Mitt Romney. She did rhyme that later with, out in Miami, I'd be chilling with a zombie. So I don't know how much credit we're going to put in that. It could have just been what was on her mind that she wanted to rhyme with. One of my favorite things is a tweet that was in response from the rapper Talib Kweli. He said, just heard a dude on Hot 97 radio station say that he won't let his daughter listen to Nicki Minaj because she endorses Mitt Romney. And he said, really? That's what it took? That's kind of how I feel. You know, taking so much stock in celebrities' endorsements is always a little iffy, especially Nicki Minaj rhyming it with zombie. But, you know, you never know that they could team up. This could be a thing. I mean, she could be writing, you know, the next great presidential jingle. Do we still have presidential jingles? I think we should get on that. So write your congressman or tweet us at Talkopolis about presidential jingles if you feel just as strongly as I do. But Gary Clark Jr., if you don't know the name Gary Clark Jr., I will allow it just this once, but you should really check him out. He is he's kind of an indie darling. He's definitely a blogosphere darling. He's been around for a few years. He's this really awesome guitarist from the Austin area. Plays guitar like Jimi Hendrix and just sounds really awesome. I've always, you know, been a fan, but he hasn't really gotten his big break. Definitely playing the festival circuit this year. He's had an EP out. He's had a few little hits here and there, but never a full album. And so he actually is going to release an album on October 23rd. So if you're a Gary Clark Jr. fan, you know, you can finally rejoice and breathe easy, you know. And also, if you're not, this gives you time to read up all about him, listen to all of his hits, pretend like you've been a fan for forever. And again, just give everyone, you know, false credit, because that's what we're all about. But seriously, you should definitely check him out. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be really awesome. And speaking of things that are debuting, Live from the Artist Den is a show. I've caught it on Hulu a few times. It's won Emmys. It's really cool. Basically, you know, again, it's I love music TV shows, and they take someone and they just put them on the stage and they let them just kind of play an intimate set, which is really cool because you don't get to see a lot of artists these days that are really big names play anything smaller than, you know, like the Bridgestone Arena over on Broadway. And that's just, you know, full to capacity. So it's really neat to see those experiences. They are going to start off their season with Norah Jones, but they also have announced that Rufus Wainwright, the Wallflowers, and one of my favorites, Mayor Hawthorne, will be playing. So that's definitely something to check out. Add that to your DVR or look it up in TV Guide if you somehow still get TV Guide. You know, highlight it so that you can remember to watch it, probably. A legendary songwriter in his own right. His name is Hal David. He passed away at the age of 91 over the weekend. And he actually, again, we were talking about Chris Lighty last week, and just what I kind of love about the music industry is that as often as it can be so portrayed as horrible and just as mean, I mean, you really do feel like when someone passes away in the industry, people really do appreciate them, even if it's just that they haven't thought about it in a while, or maybe they go back to it. But he wrote songs like Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, or That's What Friends Are For, which is, you know, a classic. I think he wrote Close to You as well. He's received all these different awards, accolades, and lived to be 91, and, you know, was still writing up into that point, but definitely nothing to be, you know, shot short at. I mean, he wrote Say a Little Prayer, Walk On By. So again, if you haven't heard these songs, you should definitely look them up because I want you to know all about them. But, you know, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, all that jazz. But so definitely sad to see him go, but he left behind a great legacy of hits, which just makes me think that, you know, 3 months from now, there'll be a box set, like it'll be the Hal David box set, and you'll be able to get it at like Bed Bath & Beyond. So, you know, go purchase that one because it's going to be a winner, along with the 63 CD set of Johnny Cash. You know, whatever floats your boat. But Miranda Lambert is one of my favorite women in the country world, really one of my favorite singer-songwriters out there. I love her. Not going to lie about that. I love her. She is actually in talks to produce a TV series for NBC. So Miranda Lambert, if you're not familiar with her upbringing, she was raised in Texas, and her parents were private investigators, and she lived with them and her little brother when she was growing up, and her parents would take in, you know, just different people and like just different abused women. That's where a lot of her songwriting tales come from. I know her song Gunpowder and Lead, she said she based off of a lot of stories that she would get from people that had just survived all these things, you know, that her parents were investigating. So apparently the show that she's working on is inspired by her childhood and is supposed to focus on a couple who runs a private detective agency while raising their 2 children. So it's very much, I think, a look back at her past, but it'll probably be, you know, pretty loosely based. But I know her parents are involved in making the show as well. So, you know, just proving that she's really expanded from the country world to working in TV. She also has her side project, The Pistol Annies. It's awesome. I mean, I really feel like she can do pretty much whatever, and she's really, really on top of it. So I'm excited for it, even if it's probably not going to be very good. I don't really know. I'll still watch it because I'll see her name and I'll just need it. But interestingly enough, it will be on NBC, which Miranda's husband, Blake Shelton, is on The Voice, which is on NBC. So they're kind of getting to share some network there. Pretty soon, I think they're just going to own it, which I would be perfectly fine with. But they'll probably change it to like National broadcasting of country. So that's fine. We'll keep the same letters. But speaking of Blake and Miranda, power couple as they are, our final story comes from Billboard, who put out a list of the music industry's top 10 powerful celebrity couples. So the way that they measured how powerful they were by the combined album sales between these couples. I thought it was a little dicey. They took people that were dating and married and together. So, I mean, they didn't really have a specification for coupling, because in this day and age, when you're photographed together, it's a couple. But Blake and Miranda actually came in at number 9 on the list. It also featured Chad Kroeger and Avril Lavigne, everyone's favorite Canadian couple that just got engaged. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez were on the list. Rounding up the top 3, we had Tim McGraw and Faith Hill at number 3. Number 2 was Jay-Z and Beyonce. No surprises there. And number 1 was actually Trisha Yearwood and Garth Brooks. And since they measured it with the total number of album sales, they rounded out the top at 78.9 million album sales together, which I think is crazy, because if you think about the fact that Garth Brooks pretty much stopped recording in 2001, so before the digital industry really even was, taking off, he and Trisha together have sold numbers and numbers of albums, which, again, if you even know Friends in Low Places, you probably agree with me on this one, that they probably deserve to be at the top anyway. But kind of a cool honor, I guess, to get to be powerful together. No matter what, they're making a bunch of money and a bunch of success. And so I guess, if you are a singer-songwriter out there and you're struggling, or you're doing really well, you should just get in like a power couple relationship, so that you can be on our list for the next time Billboard makes this list. Struggling singer-songwriter, find another one. You guys can fly together. All those cliches. But thanks so much for sticking around with us on this lovely Tuesday. We will see you later this week. And stay musical.
Microcasting for your city. Talkopolis.